All right, so we did the power rankings for the first round, the group stage of the 2026 World Cup. And since you all loved it so much, and now this is no longer a dictatorship, we're now a democracy, I will be doing it again today. But now with 2 games in hand played from each team. Hello, hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Chapéu Football, where we provide the best coverage of South American and Brazilian football in English. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to do so right now, and don't forget to drop a like in this video. Now listen, the last time we did the power rankings for the top 16 teams of the first round. Now we're going to do a top 20 because a lot of you asked me to add more teams. So we're going to do a top 20 power ranking based on performance. Please remember that. Performance in the first 2 games. So yes, I'll take into account good performances, bad performances, the opponents. I've watched every single game so far. So I'm just going to repeat this. It doesn't matter if you think, oh, Spain is the best team in the world. Well, did they perform better than France? Did they perform better than England? They perform better than Argentina? We'll talk about all of that because maybe they did. But anyhow, we'll go through all the groups. After we go through all the groups, I will give you my previous power rankings, and then I'll give you the updated top 20 power rankings. Don't forget to drop a like in this video. Do it right now. It's a great way to support the channel for free. Subscribe. We're trying to hit 30,000 subscribers by the end of the World Cup. And let me know in the comment section down below your 2026 World Cup power rankings all the way up to the second round of the group stage. Now listen, we're not going to do a power ranking for the last round because when the group stage ends, what we're going to do is a predictions video for the knockout rounds because that's what people want the most. Okay, let's roll the intro and start the episode. Okay, so before we get to my power rankings, can we quickly go through the group stage, the current updated group stage after every single team played 2 games? Now, mind you, by the time you're watching this, 1 or 2 games might have happened already, or 4 or 6 or whatever, and then the groups will look different after the teams have played their 3rd game. All right, that's all I want to say. We're going to go through the power rankings very soon, and don't forget that after the group stage ends, we will record a round of 32 predictions video. Okay, I will 100% do that, predicting each outcome of each game, going through the bracket and all that good stuff. So let's go through the groups. So Group A, we had, so far actually, we have Mexico in first, and actually Mexico topped the group. Mexico's already first, regardless of what happens. South Korea in second, Czechia in third, and then South Africa in fourth. The last round has Mexico, Czechia, South Korea, South Africa. Anyhow, to me, Mexico and South Korea have been quite clearly the top 2 teams of this group. Will South Korea lock in first place? Time will tell. We'll see. Group B, Canada in first, Switzerland in second, Bosnia in third, and Qatar in fourth. Canada's in first because they trashed Qatar 6-0. Qatar, I don't know what they keep doing in the World Cup. I'm starting to actually question the integrity of the Asian Cup because Qatar, for the 2nd consecutive World Cup, they're among one of the worst World Cup teams I've seen in my life. And they are the 2-time Asian Cup champions. They've won the last 2. So I'm starting to question the integrity of that that tournament, allegedly. Okay, allegedly. Anyhow, Canada's in first. They play Switzerland in the last round. So we'll see how that goes. Canada will play for a draw. Group C, we have our Brazil in first on goal differential, Morocco, Scotland in third, and Haiti in fourth. But Morocco plays Haiti in the last round. Brazil plays Scotland. So obviously that goal differential will go in favor of Morocco at some point. Possibly. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Brazil also has to defeat Scotland. That's a tough game. Group D, the United States topped the group. Australia and Paraguay will battle out for the 2nd place. And then you got Turkey. That was one of the biggest embarrassments of this World Cup. They're already eliminated, regardless of what happens in the last round. And Turkey was just, okay, I don't have to talk about them. They were just complete dog shit, just to be very kind to them. Group E, Germany in first, Ivory Coast in second. Ecuador, that's been another big disappointment. They can still qualify. They have to play Germany. At the time of this recording, they haven't played yet. But Ecuador was a dark horse. And the way things are going, they're not going to be a dark horse. They're going to be horse shit, depending on how this last round goes. And then Curaçao in last place. They tied Ecuador. Group F, Netherlands and Japan, 2 teams that have been playing beautiful football, beautiful soccer. They've been incredible. Netherlands and Japan have been very good. Sweden, they actually became the first team, I think, in the history of the World Cup to win the first game 5-1, where they beat Tunisia, and then lose the second game 5-1. to the Netherlands. So Sweden literally has in two games, they have 3 points, which is okay. They won a game, lost one, but they scored 6 goals and conceded 6 goals. That's Sweden, right? They have two guys that are pretty good up top, especially Isaac, very good player. Outside of that, that's not a team I rate. And a lot of people thought they should be ranked higher in my first power ranking that I did because they beat Tunisia 5-1. But I told you guys, hold your horses. I don't think Sweden's that good because they beat Tunisia 5-1. And then now you guys found out why. You guys saw that I knew ahead of time. Group G, an interesting one, right? Because Egypt has 4 points. They tied Belgium and then they beat New Zealand. They have 4 points. Iran in second, Belgium in third, New Zealand in fourth. I'm very interested in how this group ends. This is a group that can go either way. Quite fascinated by it. Belgium has been a bit of a disappointment. Group H, so Spain bounced back after they tied Cape Verde 0-0. They defeated Saudi Arabia 4-0. That's another team that every time they just come to the World Cup, they play. Apparently, they do something in the first game. They tied Uruguay. They beat Argentina in the last World Cup. And then after Saudi Arabia pulls a result, they just kind of become like Qatar. They start to suck ass out of nowhere. Uruguay, 2 draws, right? They tied Saudi Arabia and then they tied Cape Verde or Cabo Verde, shall I say. Group I, we have France in first. They won all games, all 2 games. Very good team. I'll talk about France very soon. Norway in second, also 2 wins. And then Senegal has to beat Iraq in the last game, right? Because they lost to Norway and they lost to France. They have to beat Iraq, and maybe Senegal can advance in third place. I feel bad for Senegal, guys. I really do. That's a really good team. But they landed in the same group as France and Norway, and it's been tough for them. And they had a good game against Norway. I feel bad for Senegal. They're a very strong side. Group J, Argentina won both games. Messi scored all 5 goals for Argentina. Austria, to me, Austria is the second best team in this group. And then Algeria and Jordan. Jordan's not very good. They're okay. They're not terrible. Group K, Colombia's in first with 2 wins. They defeated Congo and they defeated Uzbekistan. Portugal has 4 points. So they are going to battle out in the last round to see who finishes first. Colombia can tie the game and finish first. Portugal has to defeat Colombia. I think Colombia has looked better. They were pretty damn dominant against Congo besides the last 5 minutes. They should have scored a lot more goals while Portugal tied Congo. Uzbekistan, Portugal, and Colombia were much better. Portugal had a very good game against Uzbekistan. Last but not least, we have Group L, where England's in first. Ghana's in second after they held England to a 0-0 draw. Croatia in third. I think Croatia should be able to beat Ghana in the last round and advance in second. We'll see. And Panama has been eliminated. England, I mean, guys, they played Ghana in Boston. It's a place that England is known for struggling. Boston. They've struggled in Boston since 1773. So 253 years ago, England was already struggling in Boston. And they still are till this day. So real quick, let me show you guys my power rankings for round 1. Then we can go through the power rankings for round 2. So round 1. Based on performance, please, before you guys start cursing me out. This is based on performance, okay? It's not based on who has the most talent and who I think is better. It's not based on that. It's based on performance. And this was for round 1. I had France in first, Argentina second, England third, USA fourth, the Netherlands fifth, Colombia 6, Morocco 7, Japan 8, Germany 9, Brazil 10, Norway 11, Ivory Coast 12, Senegal 13, South Korea 14, Ecuador 15, Mexico 16. So for the current power rankings after round 2, there's going to be a lot of changes, actually. A lot of changes. So let's go through it. A few teams that underperformed in the first round are going to be included. Some teams that shat the bed in the second round are going to be removed. So what I have on screen now, this is, okay, there it is. So you guys can follow me on Twitter, Manager Tactical. 2026 World Cup power rankings after the second round. And now I did top 20 because you guys asked me to do top 20. So I'm like, I listen to y'all. So we're doing top 20 now. Okay. I'm a very nice guy. I'm a very kind guy. So you guys wanted more teams. I put more teams. So let's go through these rankings and let me explain each pick. Okay. First, let me give you the whole ranking. Then I'll explain each pick. So I have France in first, Argentina second, Netherlands third, Japan fourth, Germany fifth, USA 6, Colombia 7, Norway 8, Morocco 9, Brazil 10, Spain 11, England 12. Again, this is based on performance, okay? Yes, if I go player by player, Spain, England, even Brazil, they would be ranked much higher. But I'm ranking them based on performance of both rounds, okay? It's both rounds, not just one. Portugal 13, Mexico 14, South Korea 15, Ivory Coast 16, Switzerland 17, which I would want to put Switzerland higher, but again, that tie, that draw with Qatar drags them down. Senegal 18, even though they lost 2 games. I think Senegal had a fine game against France. France is just too good. And Senegal played well against Norway. So I have them in 18. Canada, I have them in 19th. You ain't fooling me, Canada. You're not fooling me. Beating Qatar 6-0. Bravo. First win in World Cup history for the Canadians. But again, it's just you're not fooling me. The same way Sweden didn't fool me with that 5-1 win against Tunisia, Canada ain't fooling me. And then I have Cabo Verde, Cape Verde in 20th, okay? Because they're good. They have some fight in them. I just don't think they have performed better than the teams that I listed. So let me explain now, pick by pick, before we close this video. So France, my number one pick, they're stacked. They're the best team, okay? They beat Iraq with ease, as they should. They beat Senegal in the first round with some ease in the second half. Like whenever they turned up, they're too dangerous, guys. It's not fair. Kylian Mbappe is Mr. World Cup. Dembele is incredible. Olise has actually probably been their best player. I swear. He didn't score, I think, a single goal yet, Olise, but he's probably been their best player. Then you got Desiree Doué, Chouameni. The defense is stacked. They're the perfect mix of athletic ability and technical ability, speed. It's an incredible team. They're the best team, and they beat a very good Senegal side. They ran over Iraq, and they probably will beat Norway in the last round. France right now is the team to be beaten in the 2026 World Cup. They're an incredible team. Second, I have Argentina, which, funny enough, these are the 2 finalists of the last edition. I do have question marks about Argentina. Unlike France, that faced a team like Senegal, that is a very good team, Argentina played Austria and Algeria, right? Solid teams, right? Solid teams, but let's be honest, they're not the same level as like Senegal, if we're being completely honest, right? Argentina also had Messi scoring all of their goals. So they're very heavily reliant on Messi still. Believe it or not, in 2026, Messi still, to a certain extent, carrying Argentina. Let me just get some water here. And then France, Mbappe wins them games, but let's be honest, they're much more than just Kylian Mbappe. So I have Argentina in second because also defensively, they've looked solid. They know how to play in between the lines. The defense does the dirty work for them, and they know how to play for Messi. So I have them in second. They're a very good team. But what's going to happen when the team neutralizes Messi? Even though neutralizing Messi is easier said than done, right? There's that little problem. Now, number 3 and 4 are 2 teams from the same group. In the first game, they tied 2-2. And in the second game, Japan and the Netherlands ran over their opponents, right? The Netherlands destroyed Sweden, and Japan destroyed Tunisia as expected. And Tunisia had Hervé Renard. That's a good coach, right? They hired a new coach. They've been playing wonderful football. They've been incredible. Japan and the Netherlands. Incredible soccer teams right there. Truly remarkable. Japan, I love the way they play. The technical floor is high. They play like Brazil used to. They don't have as much dribbling. They have a few moments. We don't have that. But the passing, the patterns of play, wonderful team. And mind you, Japan is missing Mitoma. They're missing Minamino. And Kubo didn't play against Tunisia. And the Dutch, just a complete team. Just a very good team. Now, Germany, I didn't have them this high last time because they beat 7-1 Curaçao, and I thought that doesn't matter too much. But then they defeated, in a comeback win, the Ivory Coast. And I think the Ivory Coast is a very good team. And Germany managed to beat them 2-1. I have Ivory Coast, for example, ahead of Senegal, ahead of Switzerland there in the ranking, as you can see. And Germany managed to beat them. So trash Curaçao and beat the Ivory Coast. I have to rank Germany high. Number 6, I have the United States of America, my country here as well. So the U.S. dominated Paraguay. Against Australia, the U.S. dominated the first half. Second half, I thought the US could have done better. They were a little bit shaky in the second half, but ultimately, what else can you ask? The United States, in the two games that they played the first half, they were incredible. The counter pressing, the intensity, the patterns of play, shot creation, they were incredible. And the US also did defeat Australia without Christian Pulisic, their best player. So US in six. Colombia, they've been very good. Colombia's been very good so far. Very controlled win against Uzbekistan. They had control of the game. Against Congo, they should have beat them 3-4-0. They wasted a lot of chances, and then the game ended up becoming what it was 1-0. They took some pressure at the end. There were two goals disallowed in the game, if I'm not mistaken. To me, Colombia has been very good so far on defense and offense. Number 8, we have Norway. They actually surprised me quite a bit against Senegal. The intensity of this team was incredible. The defense for Norway is a little bit shaky, in my opinion, but they make up for it with this giant man, this very big man up top called Erling Haaland. He has 4 goals in 2 games. Incredible player. Number 10, I have Brazil. So Brazil got the job done against Haiti, dominated the first half, got a 3-0 lead. And then in the second half, they just kind of didn't want to play. Let me get some water. But that's Brazil. That's what they chose to do. Again, they tied Morocco, a very good team. That I placed Morocco in ninth, right? I didn't talk about Morocco. I placed them in ninth. They tied Brazil. They beat Scotland. It was a tough game against Scotland, but they got the job done. They beat the European side. So I have there Morocco and Brazil. They're very close. I give Morocco the slight edge because they beat the tougher team, Scotland, but very close. Now, 11. Now we have Spain. Spain. Why do I not have Spain much higher in my own ranking? The reason I don't have Spain much higher is because they tied Cabo Verde in the first game. But against Saudi Arabia, that was the Spain that I was expecting. They were dominant. And honestly, I know I have them 11th in the power rankings, mainly because of the first game, but they're title contenders. I think I'm going to tell you right now, it's because I can't do it because of two performances. One wasn't great. Spain is probably better than Argentina, in my opinion. Okay, Spain is better than Argentina, in my opinion. Then England 12th. Again, England. Good first game against Croatia. Defense looked shaky. Against Ghana. Ghana had no offense, and England's defense also looked shaky. And they failed to find a way to break that Ghana low block, the bunker, the park the bus that they had. So I have to rank England down. That second game was not good enough. I had question marks about them after the first game. And I said this on Instagram. You guys can follow us on Instagram because I do a lot of shorts there. I think England, they're World Cup pretenders. I think they're gonna lose to the first title contender they face, whether it's Spain, Argentina, France, honestly, the Netherlands. I think they don't beat this Brazil side, England. The defense is too shaky. They're gonna leak goals, and if Brazil sits back and soaks up pressure, they're gonna struggle to score. Portugal, they weren't in my last ranking because they tied Congo, unlike Colombia that beat Congo, but they had a very good game against Uzbekistan. Cristiano Ronaldo showed up. Congratulations to him. He actually played well. They had some nice set pieces, some free kicks with some very good designed plays where Cristiano was the decoy, the distraction, and things worked. Portugal is good. So for that reason, they joined the top 20 ranking this time. They're in 13th. Now, do I think they're better than a lot of the teams that are ahead? Yes. But again, the first game performance has to be taken into account. Mexico, I have in 14th. They haven't conceded a single goal. They beat South Korea, so I have to put them ahead of South Korea, and I have South Korea in 15th. I have question marks about Mexico. I'm interested in seeing how they do against Czechia. They haven't given enough minutes to Gilberto Mora, to me, their best prospect. Not their best player, but tremendous prospect right there. But they got the job done. They got 2 wins at home against a very tough team, right? South Korea. Now, 16, we have the Ivory Coast. Very good team right there. I continue to say this. Ian Diamande is incredible. But, but, they lost their second game. They didn't hold on to the lead against Germany. So for that reason, they dropped in the power ranking. Switzerland, that draw with Qatar still holds Switzerland down. That's why Switzerland is 17th right now. And then Senegal, 18th. And you may be saying, why is Senegal 18th? They lost both games. They lost to Norway and France. They were placed in the group of death. France, to me, is the best team in the World Cup, right? And Norway is a top 10 team, as you can see. And they went toe to toe with Norway. It was a tough game. They were very good in the first half against France. Regardless of Senegal not having any wins, they played well both games. Watch the games. Just watch the games. Canada, sorry, Canada 19th. As I said, I would not have Canada in my top 20, but they beat Qatar 6-0. I have to include them. So they're 19th. And then Cabo Verde tied Spain and Uruguay. So they deserve to be in the top 20. And that is my power ranking. Those are my power rankings for round 2 of the World Cup. Now, for round 3 of the group stage, I don't know if I'm going to do power rankings because as soon as it ends, I have to do the predictions video. I have to do the predictions video as soon as it ends. So I don't know if we're going to do power rankings there. We'll see. But anyhow, make sure to drop a like in the video if you made it this far. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and let me know in the comment section down below your power rankings. All right? Bye-bye.